A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians. Brothers and sisters, be kind to one another, compassionate, forgiving one another as God has forgiven you in Christ. Be imitators of God as beloved children and live in love. As Christ loved us and handed himself over for us as a sacrificial offering to God for a fragrant aroma. Immorality or any impurity or greed must not even be mentioned among you, as a fitting among holy ones. No obscenity or silly or suggestive talk which is out of place, but instead thanksgiving. Be sure of this, that no immoral or impure or greedy person, that is an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of God. Let no one deceive you with empty arguments, for because of these things, the wrath of God is coming upon the disobedient. So do not be associated with them. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Responsorial song, Behave like God as his very dear children.
Behave like God as his very dear children.
Blessed the man who follows not the counsel of the wicked, nor walks in the way of sinners, nor sits in the company of the insolent, but delights in the law of the Lord, and meditates on his law day and night. Behave like God as his very dear children. He is like a tree planted near running water, that yields his fruit in due season, and whose leaves never fade. Whatever he does prospers. Behave like God as his very dear children. Not so the wicked, not so. They are like shaft which the wind drives away. For the Lord watches over the way of the just, but the way of the wicked vanishes. Behave like God as his very dear children. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Your word, O Lord, is truth. Consecrate us in the truth. Alleluia, alleluia.
Good morning.
Good morning, Father.
I don't know about you, but I found the responsorial psalm to be overwhelming. Behave like God. How do you do that? Behave like God, as God's very dear children. That's quite a responsorial psalm. But luckily, it was introduced by that reading from Ephesians. And Paul is very clear about how we can behave like God. And Paul began by telling us to be kind-hearted, compassionate, and forgiving. And then he went on to say this: live as God lived. Live as God lives, as Jesus taught us, by sacrificing his life in love. You know, those first three things, kind-heartedness, compassion, and forgiveness, are elements of love. But they only work when one is focused on self-giving love. And if we want to behave like God, we're told very simply, then love in the manner of Jesus. And when you do that, you are behaving like God. It's really not hard to do. It's just that we don't always do it. We can do it, but we just don't always do it. And the reasons can be myriad. But we all have the capacity to behave like God. Now, there's two great Carmelite saints who came to understand how to behave like God. One is Saint Therese of the Child Jesus. And if you've read her autobiography, in it she says, I was searching for my vocation, and then I came to see it. I will be loved in the heart of the church. Simple as that. I will be loved in the heart of the church. And she put all of her energy into loving day in and day out. The other great Carmelite saint is John of the Cross. And St. John of the Cross put it this way: my vocation now is to love. Period. My vocation now is to love. They just have this single-hearted focus on how one behaves like God, by putting all of his or her energy into love, day in and day out. Behave like God, as God's very dear children. It's not even that hard to do. It's just that sometimes it's terribly inconvenient.